Ladies and gentlemen, I am glad to welcome you again to our program. Today we shall be talking about the second pillar of the practice of Agni Yoga, the rhythm of the day, and the rhythm of the week, and the rhythm of the year. The purpose of the practice of Agni Yoga is to strengthen your spirit, so that you can establish the rule of the spirit over yourself and over the circumstances. In order to achieve this goal, it is one of the first, oldest, and most important spiritual exercises to force the chaotic waves of events into a certain order, and not to be driven by them back and forth. You must assign to everything its appropriate place. You need to give the essential and important matters priority over the insignificant ones. In these words is contained the tragedy of our times. We find time without limit for all kinds of petty activities, but we do not find an hour for the most vital. It is important that you shape your life according to the inner necessity of things and of the worldwide evolution. You must not make yourself a slave of the ever-changing, fortuitous external conditions. Agni Yoga often speaks about the importance of giving your life a harmonious rhythm. Life and death, sleeping and being awake, sowing and harvesting, activity and contemplation, thinking and acting, spiritual and physical work. Again and again we see a healthy life requires that you give all aspects of your existence equal weight. Some examples. If you are working incessantly for hours and hours on the production line or on the computer, if you are focusing one-sidedly on the physical side of existence while neglecting its spiritual aspect, if you shorten your sleep for the benefit of waking hours, if you jump to and fro from one project to the other, if you are filling your time with irrelevant matters while losing sight of the essential, the really important ones, if you give in to all the requests and temptations that family, relatives, friends, acquaintances, colleagues, and club mates impose on you, if you are once in a hurry and later sunk in idleness, then you are living unhealthily in the long run. Beware of those who have no time. Being falsely busy indicates first of all inability to make use of the treasure of time and space. Now let us speak about paltry idlers and dullards who clutter up the path of life. They are busy as a pepper box. They always have a bitterness against labor. They are as puffed up as turkey cocks. They think up 100 pretexts to fill in the cracks of rotten work. They cannot find an hour for the most urgent. In their stupidity, they are ready to become arrogant and to deny that which is most essential for them. They are as unproductive as are the thieves of another's time. They must be excluded from the new construction. For them can remain the carrying of bricks. The best work results you achieve. Your health you save. All your abilities you develop evenly if you enforce the harmony of a natural, healthy rhythm in your life. There are mainly three reasons which make it indispensable to set up a firm order of the day. First, the material life, with its real and apparent commitments and distractions, keeps you busy from dawn to dusk. The life of your true, eternal, spiritual individuality, the soul, cannot unfold unless you reserve for it fixed times during the course of the day. This is a millennia-old experience, which you too will make once you tread the spiritual path. Without a certain order, you run the risk of granting too much room to the transitory matters and too little to the eternal ones. Toward what shall we strive? To the finite or to the infinite? Second reason. We had spoken in the introductory broadcasting about the four spheres of life. Do you remember? Once you are on your way to practice Agni Yoga, you will see yourself. You will not succeed to establish, during the course of the day, a balanced relationship between meditation, serving the common good, and training by the teacher, unless you establish and maintain a specific rhythm of the day. There can be no question of a spiritual life as long as no specific times are being fixed and respected for retreat, meditation and prayer, for the study of the Holy Scriptures, for the communion with the higher world and the dialogue with the teacher, for self-education through physical and spiritual exercises, and for serving the common good and your neighbor. Allow to melt in your mouth one of the most beautiful and most important paragraphs of Agni Yoga. Friends, you find ample time for everything, but for the highest you have only a few moments. If you had dedicated only the time you waste at banquets to the highest, you would have become teachers by now. Third reason. We had already addressed and will mention again and again. You cannot start and end your day in the mundane hustle and bustle. If your new, higher spiritual life is to become a reality, you need to schedule in the morning, at noon, and in the evening at least a quarter of an hour in which you put yourself into the higher state of an immortal, invulnerable, powerful and joyful spiritual being, or, in other words, in which you transform yourself into a spiritual disciple. This higher standpoint, as on a mountain top, high above the earthly matters, you need to establish and to defend constantly throughout the day. You will see yourself. If you do not manage to realize this, you will sink into the waves of material chaos. To establish and to comply with a rhythm of the day against all the odds is a first victory of the spirit over the circumstances. We had already spoken of the need to look for a teacher if you want to make progress on the spiritual path. Today we go a step further and say, if you want to be the spiritual disciple of a not incarnated teacher, then your true home, the place, the community in the spiritual world to which you belong, is the ashram of your teacher. There you have lived before you were born. There your eternal individuality wishes to return after the death of the body. In the subtle world, there are also ashrams of the White Brotherhood. Just as on earth, they are not numerous, for there also great discipline and tense labor are demanded. And where are those who are willing to give themselves to greater labor instead of the promised rest? We had also already said, if you want to belong to this heaven, if you wish to live already now in your personal paradise, then you must, even here on earth, adhere to the rules and practices which are in force there. Otherwise, you actually are not yet a true member of this illustrious community. Among the rules that apply in this ashram is a fixed order of the day, as in all communities led by great teachers. From the Egyptian mysteries over the communities of Pythagoras, the Academy of Platon, the ashram of Buddha, and the monasteries of the Middle Ages, to the community ideals of Dietrich Bonhoeffer and the ashram of Mahatma Gandhi. One should learn to acknowledge all the higher laws and to construct life upon them. As long as no physical ashrams of Agni Yoga exist on earth, you must live in a virtual ashram, in an inner monastery. That means you can visit the community to which you belong for the time being only in spirit. You subject yourself to the discipline in force there without the need to let that become particularly apparent in the outside material world. He who has determined to master Agni Yoga must transform through it his entire life. This most synthesizing yoga exacts an obligation to construct one's entire life in accordance with a discipline that is externally imperceptible, You live your life in such a way that you are not physically, but in spirit, a member of the ashram of your teacher. As such, not different from the situation when the ashram would actually physically exist, you are sent out into the world with various tasks and jobs during the day. We shall discuss this ancient fundamental spiritual exercise, the path of the inner monastery, in a later broadcasting in more detail.